Hello everybody, welcome to another episode. Today I'd like to talk about hiking poles. Do I need them on the Camino de Santiago? More importantly, how do you use them properly on the Camino de Santiago? Let's show you. You know what, I love this time of year to be able to come out and do a little bit of a video with these sort of colours. It's just like a dream come true, isn't it? I personally didn't use any poles on Camino de Santiago. There's probably three to 4 days where poles would have been a benefit, but that would have meant that I'm carrying the poles for the 25, 26 days, whatever. So I decided not to take them with me. However, I do use poles on mountain days and days where my hips and knees might struggle a bit. So if your knees and hips are more likely to have problems with downhills and uphills, I'd fully recommend them. Can I take them on the plane with me in my hand luggage? I wouldn't advise it because there's quite a few security at airports that like to confiscate and pretend they're weapons. You can either buy them a cheap pair once you get there to Camino de Santiago. You don't need carbon, ultra high-tech, £150, $150 trekking poles. For Camino de Santiago, you can get by with $15 ones when you get there. They're a bit heavier, but if you're intending to use them all the time, you're not carrying them, are you? You're using them. How do they work? Most poles are adjusted either by a twist lock system, a bit like a cap on the top of a bottle or a jar, or a flick lock system like this one, where a bit just flicks out. You can adjust to the height that you want and close that again to lock it securely. The straps, there's left-handed and right-handed poles. They normally have some way of showing you which. This is because of the design of how the strap comes out. And one of the crucial things to know about poles is where your hand goes into the strap. It doesn't go down like that and hangs in that sort of way. It goes up, and you'll see a difference if you try both. So if you're holding it like that, move your hand through the loop upways, and this supports your hand. So when you're doing an uphill, you haven't got to grip really tightly to keep hold of it. Most of the weight is all done in the palm of your hand there. Very clever. The poles that you get will have a little rubber bit on the end. This is to be used on asphalt when crossing bridges that go back to the 11th century. It can annoy people if people have taken that bit of rubber off. They've just got this bit of metal, and if you can imagine an 11th century bridge with pilgrim after pilgrim chipping away at it. So if you're just walking on asphalt, concrete, certainly over really old stuff, you probably don't need your poles for that bit, and if you do, try and put the rubber tip on. These bits here are called baskets. These are for when the ground is really soft or it's snow or something like that. Too hard here, but that just stops the pole just sinking right the way in and gives a bit of structure. The best starting angle should be where the lower part of your arm here is horizontal, almost like a 90-degree angle there on your arm. Pretty much on the Camino de Santiago at least, you won't really need to adjust your pole from there. There aren't any significant uphills or downhills that require you to adjust it too much. Now this is the angle where the pole should go, with on the opposite leg, and you're propelling yourself forward using your arm, so it gives propulsion. If you're doing it like this or like this, you're almost putting on the brakes. You're just making it harder for yourself. You will see people using this forward angle if they don't know how to use the poles properly. And unless it's a kind of steep downhill, as you can see from the angle there, it's just not productive. Sometimes on a steep hill, just to change it up a bit, I quite like to do this stereotype, both hands at the same time. It can be quite helpful. Now for downhill, instead of having this grip, where you've been doing it all the way through for your walking and the uphill, we simply move our hand to the top there, and then quite the opposite, you can use it in front of you instead of the general walking where it points backwards and it's level with your foot in a propelling motion. We can move it forward to take some of the stress off, and certainly if it's any areas that you're less confident with, it gives a few more points of contact. Another thing to consider is just use one pole. If you're not sure either way and you want to make a compromise, one pole is still very good for those uphill bits that are a struggle. Are there any other things about Camino de Santiago that you'd like me to do a video on? Please request it in the comments below. I'm more than happy to talk about anything that I know about, or I'll go and discover and try and find out if I don't. But please feel free to use the comments. It's really good and it'll make sure that I'm providing the content that you want.